Greetings and thanks for joining us again for another AM Dynasty presentation. It's been a while, so we appreciate having you back, whether you're listening on the audio platforms or viewing on the multitude of viewing platforms. We are back, so appreciate you patiently waiting until we stop back by while you're rolling with us for this another AM Dynasty presentation. Whether you're listening on Spotify, Apple Radio, Google Radio, or a multitude of other listening platforms, or if you're viewing us on Fanbase, YouTube, Patreon, or a host of other viewing platforms. This presentation is going to be one of the best presentations we've ever put on for our viewing and listening audience. I'm so glad to have you here in an episode, two-part series that we're calling California Ecology, History, and Our Contributions. California Ecology, History, and Our Contributions. In this video, you're probably going to hear some information that you haven't heard before. We don't think many people have heard much about this information as far as California, the history of California ecology and the contributions we've made to build up the state. So you should stick around to the very end and make sure you listen to some of this information. You're going to learn something, guys, so make sure you stick around and listen. Respond in the comment section. Leave some comments in the comment section if you have heard some of this information before. If you hadn't heard much about this information that's going to be presented to you in this video. So make sure you check that out as well. We also want to shoot out a thanks to Big Cuz and his wife. Big Cuz, my co-host in this episode, has been a great partner. He's going to be doing a lot of the talking in this episode as we visit what's called the Bay model. And I just want to say thanks to Big Cuz and his wife. They've always been down since day one. And he and they know a lot about a lot. You've seen them in other episodes on AM Dynasty, and they really make the platform better just by contributing and being my co-host and my homie. So we definitely think you're going to like this episode and enjoy some of the information that myself and Big Cuz is sharing. Just want to definitely shoot out a thanks to him. Every time Big Cuz is around our episodes, and it's just a lot of fun, and we're a lot better off for having him here. So definitely love that. So you guys put your seatbelts on, take this ride, and get ready to enjoy this AM Dynasty presentation. We offer this presentation as a community service for our society, culture, and the state of California. You know, we like to clown around in a lot of videos and have a good time online on social media, but we really enjoy when we can present some information that is of significance for the culture, for our society, for the state, for the people. So without further ado, we're going to get right to this video, and we hope you really enjoy. In part one of California Ecology, History, and Our Contributions. What's up, guys? Thanks for joining us again on another AM Dynasty TV broadcast. I'm over here with Big Cuz once again joining us. Say what's up, Big Cuz.
Hey everybody, how are you doing today?
All right, guys. So today we're in Sausalito. We're in the lovely Bay Area city of Sausalito, where we're going to be checking something interesting out. Where we at today, Big Cuz?
We are at the Bay Model Visitor Center in Sausalito, California.
Something called the Bay Model
Visitor Center. And what it is they have an entire working model of the entire Bay Area here at this facility. And we're going to go in here and we're going to tour it, and we're going to take some video and some pictures, and we're going to discuss it.
We're going to discuss it, check it out. Never been here before, but you know, we're out here. We this series we got going on, we're going to basically continue to highlight and discuss interesting places that's hidden jewels around the Bay Area. So let's go in and check it out. I don't know what it's about, but we'll see what we find. Let's go.
Let's go.
All right.
Good luck.
Have a good one. Have a good one.
You said my food is good.
Yeah, exactly. I don't need luck. I use skill, so I don't need to depend on all that. Luck.
Wedding on the boat.
Yeah, wedding on the boat today.
Not the greatest weather.
Nah, we'll deal with it though.
No, not for us. I'm talking about them.
Oh yeah, wedding, yeah. But you know what? Hey, it's a wedding though.
I'm worried about the tip around people with the wine you bring.
Yeah. Oh, trust me, it's a wine event. It can't go wrong.
No, yeah, dude, I got the rain.
Keep on whining.
Oh, the Army, the U.S. Army. So look, right here, let's shoot. So this is, so you do know about the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers? Are you aware of them?
I don't.
So the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, they're mostly responsible for most of the levees around the United States. So like, for instance, the levees surrounding New Orleans during Katrina, those whole entire systems of levee were designed by the U.S. Army Corps. So I'm assuming the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers designed this model.
Interesting. Now, this is supposed to be a working model of the Bay Area to some degree, to whatever degree. All right, let's check it out. You ever been here, Big Cuz?
Nope.
Okay.
All new to me, but
You too?
yeah. So let's go over here and check this part out. Okay. All these little native.
So it shows some of the native plants here for this area
and the
and
animals
indigenous
that pollinate
species.
the area. So we got the monarch butterfly, and they have a western monarch butterfly station here, and they give you a little bit of background on the butterfly. It says that the butterfly populations are in steep decline due to the loss of their caterpillar host plant milkweed. Gardeners can help reverse the trend by planting native milkweed species for the larval stages and the late summer flowers for adult butterflies.
That's interesting right there. Yeah, I've never seen or heard of this place. You got butterfly habitat. It says songbird habitat, hummingbirds. They're talking about hummingbirds.
Those are native pollinators.
Native pollinators.
And then native bees.
And then native bees. The garden demonstrates the cycle of natural connections between native plants and native pollinators. Interesting.
Little garden right here.
Right here on the water. Let's go inside and check it out. You've been here your whole life. What do you mean you haven't been here before? You've been in the Bay Area your whole life.
Never been to this particular location.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've been in Sausalito.
Right.
Go get a good burger. That's what I don't know about anything else around here. We got a Sausalito. I went and me and my wife went and had massages.
Yeah. Hello, guys. Hello.
Working model of the whole entire bay here.
Yes, and one of the interesting things about it that you might find especially interesting is the fact that the engineers laid the block. You're welcome. But it was a team of black men that sculpted the model. But it was a team of black men that sculpted the model. But it was a team of black men that sculpted the model.
Really?
Yeah, they were referred to as the molders, but I like to refer to them as the sculptors.
Really?
Because it's a working sculpture.
Wow, that's interesting.
So
right
when you
there.
come out of the theater and you walk around, and you'll see where there's these little phone pods, and you'll see three gentlemen there. And there's a young kid that now has his own engineering firm in San Francisco. These were taken some years ago. And then Bill Angeloni, who was our chief of readiness and operations and readiness. And then you'll see old Bert Lewis there. And then you'll see him as a young man in a photograph, and you see him going right to work there.
That's interesting right there. Okay. Yeah. How long has the museum, or for lack of a better word, been here? I've never heard of the place before.
We've been here since 1957.
Really?
Uh-huh.
And how long has the model been?
They fired it up for the first time in
1957.
Really?
So I guess you could say we were here in about 1953, started construction on it in 1954, and it took 1 year to build. It took 3 years to calibrate, mostly because there was the Korean War in there as well.
Right.
And
Excellent.
yeah,
So the Army Corps of Engineers are who designed the model, right?
correct.
And is there a working purpose for the model other than just
Show the history.
aesthetic purposes?
Oh, it was a working laboratory. This was the premier place for fluid dynamic research.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, that is really amazing.
Yeah, I did not know that. Me neither.
So you learn so much.
And that's what's interesting, I think, as far as the channel we have. Been out in the Bay Area our whole life, and it's always some interesting information.
Gosh, yeah.
And this whole state has an interesting history. So you don't have to, you throw a rock and you're gonna find some new history to ourselves. So this is gonna be interesting checking out today.
Absolutely.
Thanks for
and
giving
we
so
also
much.
have another exhibit called Marinship. And Marinship takes you back to the history before this was the home of the Bay model. It takes you back to World War II. And it takes you back to the time when Bechtel got the contract to build 93 ships here during the war. Liberties, tankers, and oilers. And a lot of black folk came up from Louisiana.
Yeah, that's not my family good.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so, you have your Marin City, which is an African American community, and they can all trace their roots.
I didn't know
That
that.
makes sense. Well, we just were talking about that whole little community back then.
Yeah, and they all worked here.
Yeah.
Initially, that's how they came up.
Migrate.
You know, that's
Migrate.
where, I don't know if you may not know this, or that's where Tupac is from.
Yeah,
He
right.
grew up in
No
City.
way.
Yeah.
I did not know that. And the building right behind us here is the plant. And that goes back to your rock and roll days.
Right.
Carlos. I hope Carlos still lives in the neighborhood, but I mean, Janis Joplin and all of the folks that were making records during that time. I don't know if there's a whole litany of people. And then they had a studio on the East Coast. And I think they had another one even in San Francisco. So all of the greats that were making the
Made
churning
it
out
through
of
here, huh? Wow.
All the greats been through here.
Yeah, it's
How long have you been working with
I'm in my 19th year here.
19.
Wow, nice. Does this? I keep calling it a museum. This facility get a lot of visitors very often here, checking out the history?
Well, we do. With the COVID, we're still recovering from that.
Right.
And the last recession hit us pretty hard as well because the cost of buses went up. A lot of teachers were laid off.
Oh yeah, schools and
schools.
things. That's right.
Yeah,
That's right.
And 75% of our visitors are students from all over the world.
Wow.
Actually.
Very
I'm
nice.
surprised I've never been with all the kids I've raised and been on field trips. We've never made it over here.
Right.
It's not too late.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I have
That's
to bring
what-
my child back.
Well, man, thank you so much. Really appreciate the information and the history lesson. We're gonna go ahead and check it out, view it for ourselves, and see what this place has to offer. So thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Anytime.
Appreciate it so much. Absolutely. So what you see there, Big Cuz?
Well, it's saying that how the Army engineers got here because of the great earthquake of 1906. So they came in
Because of the great earth-
rebuild the city.
The Great Earthquake of 1906, you say?
So they were brought in to rebuild the city.
This is like California history right here, right? State history.
Specifically San Francisco.
San Francisco civics. A call to action.
So this is all of the housing that was provided during the earthquake. This is all,
Which is 1906.
yeah. They said 3,000 tents, 13,000 ponchos, 58,000 pairs of shoes, 24,000 shirts. There were 30,000 refugees that depended on that shelter. No, I was just looking.
I was actually trying to see. Yeah, I was actually.
How all of this is the whole point of how they got here. Having to rebuild the city after the airport. So, after the earthquake, that's just the whole house. So they were building the model, and then they would go. The model was the blueprint. And once they built the model, then they would go on and start the construction.
Got it.
off the model. The model is like a working blueprint.
Okay, cool. So we're going inside the place right now.
And so this isn't the working model. This is showing how the water goes from the mountains in the Sierra and comes all the way down and goes to the ocean. So this is
From the mountain to the sea.
so this is the snow. So when the rain falls in the Sierra, so this is where the Bay Area gets the majority of their water, or Northern California.
This is
Snow falls in the Sierra Mountains, which is called the snowpack.
okay.
So every year they go and they measure the snowpack. And that's how they know how much water we're going to have or whether or not there's going to be a drought. So it's all based on this measuring tool and how deep is the snowpack. Right? Because when summer comes or spring, all of this melts and turns to water, runs down the hill into all the natural aquifers.
Oh yeah.
And then all of the rivers, and
Yeah.
they all feed into the
Yeah, that's drinking water.
Yes. So East Bay Mud and all these other water districts have all these reservoirs, which like Comanche, Don Pedro.
Right.
There's so many, the Modesto River. There's so many different
Reservoirs.
reservoirs that they use, and all of this water comes from up here in the Sierra.
Got it. It's an interesting model, kind of displaying that.
So these are, now look, this is not something else. So these are all the dams that were built to create all of these lakes, right? And so they have these hydroelectric plants where the water flows through and it creates electricity which also, heats our homes and also is all the electrical power that we use to power our houses.
Interesting.
This is the dam in Shasta.
Shasta.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yep. And so this dam was built by the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers
In 1957. Check out the painting on the wall as well. Like they,
It's a painting of the Sierra.
the Sierra Mountains.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Which is interesting to me because as a black man, and I'm a skier. Not very many of us, but I'm a skier,
True.
and I actually ski on that water, that snow that comes down and melts.
Wow. Been doing that for years, huh?
I've been doing that for years. It's kind of interesting to watch things go 360.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And
Just like when you wash your car and the water goes down the street, that water also leads to the bay. So like right here, say we all live right here and we wash our cars and whatnot, all of the water that comes down through all of our natural aquifers, all of our streams and creeks and all of that stuff all lead to the bay. So that's why we gotta watch what we put in the street. Even when we wash our cars, or when we drain our oil on the street, even when it spills on the ground and then it dries up. But when the rain comes, all of that water and contaminants all drain into the bay and affect all the coastal wildlife and ecosystem.
that puts a whole nother spin on your dumping, the liquids and things that you dump. Like you said, washing cars or whatever.
So that's what it's showing you. The white lights are the snow, and as the snow melts, it all turns into the blue water that runs on. This represents the Bay Area.
This is like a working model of the Northern California water collection system.
And it's just showing this is like the stuff that's affected by, like, these are fish and wildlife, just like what we're talking about.
So what was that? I wonder what they was doing before then. You think if this got built in 1957, like a 57 Chevy, then what was the system before that?
Who knows? I know that it must have been, that's why, so we had a dependent source of water. So what they do is they dam up rivers and create lakes. So in order to create power, water, clean water for us to drink, this is the lifeline of our life here in the Bay Area. And without this water and this collection system, we wouldn't have a lot of power that we're dependent on,
Right.
or clean water for drinking.
Interesting. Wow. Fishing out fortunes.
So they was talking about how the gold rush, but they're mining all of and using water.
Yeah.
That they contaminated all of the water.
Oh, okay.
They devastated the water. It was all kind of settlement. And like, look, this is a settlement dam that they had to breed. Look, that's not land. That's debris laden.
Oh no.
With all kind of debris.
Contaminations.
And they built this filtration system out of logs to and that's the clean settlementless water coming through.
Gotcha.
I just think this is all caused by mining.
Yeah.
That's what they said.
Right. Thanks, 49ers.
And so let's talk about this. It says the African American Buffalo soldiers
Oh, wow.
once patrolled the Sequoia and Yosemite National Park.
Say that again.
It says Captain Charles Young, America's third black West Point graduate, was assigned to administer Sequoia National Park in 1903. Young and his troops stationed at San Francisco Presidio built the road leading visitors to the giant forest, one of the world's largest sequoia groves. More importantly, the troops set an example of dignified service that remains today. And to tie into the lady who just was telling us was that the people who built the model, the actual sculptors of the model, were 3 African American engineers from the Army Corps of Engineers.
How come I didn't know that? And I'm one who, I followed a lot of histories, particularly history from our culture and California history. I just have always liked history.
I feel like a lot of our accomplishments, they hold back because they don't want to empower us. So by us knowing our history, it also lets us know where we came from and possibly where we're going. And so I just feel like there was a point in time where there was a movement for great intelligence, and at some point there started to be a dumbing down because they don't want us to know our true history. Because if we know this type of stuff, this is the things that bring us back into prominence. If you ask me in my own personal,
I feel it's my personal job and just my personal education, and to highlight our contribution to our society, our planet, and more specifically to our community. This is our community.
I agree.
So
this is empowering, just knowing all this stuff, coming here, knowing this. And I'm glad I didn't go home. I was going to go home, you guys, and go wash my boat. And I decided to come here with him to see something that I didn't know existed. And I'm better for coming here. So I'm glad that I did come here. So I learned a lot about stuff I didn't know about my own area.
right, and
And accomplishments of
our people.
some of my people made.
right.
And so this is the stuff that gives us a stronger stake in the history of California in the United States, because we affected change and we don't know about it. It's not being publicized, but it's up to us to get and uncover the history. We can't let it stay covered. Don't forget your map. All right, let's go in here and see this working model, guys.
Okay, let's check it out.
Look at this. This is an example of the indigenous peoples.
Say what?
This is an example of the indigenous people and some of the watercraft they used to move through the marshland prior to early settlers coming here.
There's a lot of marshland in where's that area where there's like marshes? Is that part of Bay Area?
Well, really, the Bay Area in itself was considered a marshland. Like, for instance, I just was reading some history on Samuel Merritt, exactly, you said that right. Samuel Merritt, who was a prominent doctor who gave land to the city of Oakland, and that's why he's named that. He started Merritt Hospital, and they named Merritt College after him.
Lake Merritt.
Yeah, so come to find out, he gave, and that's why Lake Merritt is called Lake Merritt. He gave Lake Merritt to the city of Oakland, and it was marshland. And they took the marshland and turned it into that lake. So it looked like a lot like this.
You know what's interesting, probably interesting to some of our viewers and listeners out there that are not from the California or the Bay Area, is that Lake Merritt is where, a piece of ratchet history, is where the whole, was it Barbecue Karen? Karen?
Yeah, Barbecuing
While Black thing happened with the Karen that started a few years back ago. What's that, Big Cuss?
This is a will to discover plants and animals that thrive in the changing waters of the Delta. So this This is a painting of the Delta and how the Delta ties into our systems of marshes, rivers, and streams.
So as you go in a circular motion with...
No, see, I just learned some Chinook salmon. My neighbor's dog is named Chinook.
What is that? So they're showing the different...
type of salmon.
Okay.
And so it's just funny because my neighbor's dog is named Chinook. So I just put that together. I'm about to go home and tell her. I didn't know your dog was named after a salmon.
Well,
I just learned something.
he loves salmon.
So this
You call it salmon, I call it salmon. I know it's called salmon.
salmon. I say salmon. Everybody says salmon.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Different.
I pronounce the L. I say L for a reason.
We got you on air.
My wife keeps telling me that it's salmon.
It's salmon. I gotta,
What is the L for?
exactly. I got a
What is
problem
the
with
L
that.
for?
I'm definitely gonna let you know about that. It's salmon, because
I know. I just said it's salmon. I don't know why. I'm working through it, guys. So help me. I'm working through it. This is Delta smelt. This is one of the smaller native fish to the Bay Area. This is Delta smelt, a native fish to the Bay Delta estuary.
got it.
This is a tool. TULE, Native Americans gathered bundles of relight brush, and that is this boat. It's called a tool.
TULE tool.
TULE.
Okay.
And this is a cope pod, a major food source for fish. There's some small animals that live in salty and fresh water, and that's what the fish eat on. And this is a tool elk. And I guess they once ran with the Central Valley.
Just that type of fish.
His name is the tool
the elk.
elk.
The elk.
Yeah, maybe they fed on the tool.
Oh yeah, they shot the things out of existence
And they said
for dinner
that,
and breakfast.
And so they have some descendants now. They're trying to reintroduce those into the watershed.
Oh, some survived?
No, well, they have ancestors of those.
Oh, I see. I understand.
So they're trying to reintroduce that species back into that area because it has gone extinct in that area.
Right.
And this is a snow goose.
Okay.
So it says huge flocks of these large white geese migrate each fall from the Arctic breeding grounds down the Pacific Flyway to the Central Valley. They spend the winter feeding in freshwater wetlands, flooded fields, and estuary waterways.
And these are indigenous birds, fish, and other animals that were and are.
And this is
indigenous
a
to the
tool
area.
perch, the only California surf perch living in fresh water. The palm-sized tool perch was once common throughout the Central Valley. Loss of habitat and competition from introduced non-native fish have greatly reduced its number.
Interesting.
And then they have the white sturgeon, the largest freshwater fish in North America, weighing up to 1,300 pounds. Wow. And living up to 100 years. Sturgeon spawn in the Sacramento River, but spend adulthood in the brackish waters of the Bay Delta estuary. I'm fishing for sturgeon. I didn't know they got that big. Wow.
Have you ever ate it?
No, I don't think I've had sturgeon.
Me either. Just wondering. Interesting. I think one thing that's interesting is this tool, this model of what was the original tool or boat that the indigenous native people utilize here in these Northern California Bay Area marshes here in the
It says
past.
that the fish were harpooned or netted.
Okay, so that's how they got it from the tool, the boat.
Yeah.
As right here, here's another painting of what it would have looked, what the tool would have looked like with the indigenous native people.
And it says that the two rivers that feed the Delta are the San Joaquin and the Sacramento River. And it says historically, 40% of California's water used to flow through the Delta. Today, more than half of that water has been diverted for other uses.
Okay. Interesting information. As we move along, wait, what's this over here real quick? Very briefly. What's this?
This is the hub of the system. So it says the Delta is the heart of California's water management system. And 60% of Delta's water is diverted away from the bay to irrigate agricultural fields and provide drinking water for cities around the bay and in Southern California.
Now, most of the drinking water, like there's a one, I can't remember the name of it, but it's out in San Mateo County, which is, I think, just a river.
Oh, no, you're talking about, there's a lake there.
The lake.
San Francisco gets their water
You
from.
can't.
Starts with the T.
You can't fish there. You can't be there. So when I look at this,
Tehachapi?
I'm not really sure. And I used to know it, but this is. Yeah. Now, look, but here's the thing: you can't fish or anything at that water. I'm looking at this boat. Like, how does this be?
Siri, what's the name of the lake that supplies San Francisco with their water?
Drinking water.
So it's the San Francisco has two major watersheds: the
Tuolumne.
which includes the Hetch Hetchy Reservoir. That's the
Hetch Hetchy.
Cherry Lake and Lake Ellen.
I think it's
And then there's also the Alameda Peninsula watershed.
Got it. Okay.
So the Hetch Hetchy. that's-
Hetch Hetchy. So what's this briefly? What's this? Bringing the wetlands back.
So right now they're currently trying to restore the wetland.
Okay. Got it. Okay. Let's keep it
So
running.
before it says partners in restoration, old hay fields, salt production ponds, and other bayside lands are being purchased to restore wetlands. Partnership with other agencies and organizations, the U.S. Corps of Engineers is providing expertise and contributing to its navigation flood control missions by working to restore wetlands by reusing dredged materials.
I think that's probably a good thing. There's not going to be any shopping malls and condos built in that area where we can keep some of the natural irrigation and what do you call this, animal life, so that they don't just get.
So that's what it says. It says the Delta is nature's resting stop. Their 2,000-mile trip can be tiring. Many migrating birds come from upper North America and migrate, and they stop in the Delta on their way going south to South America. You know, this is interesting because you used to live in Suisun, or near Suisun. So you ever notice the bay, those wetlands? That
Absolutely,
used to be,
absolutely.
Near 680.
Yes, marshy.
So that's all part of
Exactly,
the marshland.
marshy.
That's there, yeah. That's what's it called?
No. I just say it's like marshy, but like
But
marshy.
that's what it is.
Yeah.
You know, one time it was interesting. I took a train from Hayward going to Sacramento to pick up a car, and believe it or not, the train system goes on through the inside of Martinez and comes across the bridge, and it goes on the inside of these marshes and all the way up to Sacramento. It is a very interesting ride, and the things that you can see from the train, you get an excellent view of this marshland.
Interesting.
And it was a wonderful trip because I actually got to see California from a different perspective, not on the freeway, but from the inside of the building of California, looking outward. So it was interesting.
Whenever I think about that, I think of what were the like the original or indigenous people routes that they took up and down the state. I just think like before, we put roads and everything, roads, freeways, even trails. What were some of the waterways?
They were using the Delta.
Yeah, the Delta.
The Delta. I've taken it. I'm just telling you tomorrow.
That's right.
I'm going to go from the Delta in Antioch, and I'm going to take the Delta all the way up to Sacramento on my boat tomorrow.
Really?
Yep.
Okay.
I have a plan. I invited you, so I hope you come.
Absolutely.
That's how I was going to go my boat.
Absolutely.
So this tells how the salt water from the ocean and all of that fresh water, how it mixes in the bay. So this is the fresh water, this is the salt water, and right in here is the mixing zone. And so that right there is a mixture between salt and fresh water, which is the Delta. The Delta is not fresh water. It's a mixture of salt water and fresh water mixed together.
Gotcha.
So this is what we've been on. We've been on a journey showing us through San Francisco's watershed. And we're going on into the model here, I think. And this is just a summary of basically letting you know why we need to protect the watershed, why it's so important to protect from up in the Sierra Nevada and the water that flows all the way down to the bay. It's up to me and you,
Right.
and everybody else to take care of this.
Absolutely.
So that we have water and power and wetlands and marshlands and areas for all these fishes and organisms, because it's a complex ecosystem that is dependent on all of these things to survive. And if one of these things go extinct or one of these things fail, we don't know what the catastrophic effect could be.
Absolutely. And considering we made a significant contribution, and this is the underneath what makes California beautiful, and has been. I mean, this is our water system. We got bridges and water everywhere. We got hills, valleys. So it's just like just an intricate inside look. It's like underneath what makes the state really, really beautiful. And then, like I said, the thing I learned today that I think is really interesting is our, as a people, contribution to actually developing and building up this system. So I think it's kind of cool. Let's go and check this out. All right. Thanks for sticking around for the entire episode. And there's going to be much more great and little well-known information in part 2. So as we said, this was going to be a real interesting broadcast presentation by AM Dynasty. We hope you learned a lot. And after living here my whole life, this is a lot of information I didn't know about. Some of the history, the ecology, how the system has gotten developed, our waterway system, how we utilize it for energy. And just as important, how some of our ancestors have contributed in a positive way to build up the system that we all utilize today. So this was some real great information on this episode, part 1 of California Ecology, History, and Our Contributions. There'll be a lot more information to learn about that in part 2, in the second and final installment of California Ecology, History, and Our Contribution on the next AM Dynasty. So thanks again for sticking around for the entire episode, and we really appreciate you for joining us. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel on the way out the car, and we will catch you on the next one. AM Dynasty, California Ecology, History, and Our Contributions. See you on the next one.